Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make the Canadian classic poutine, and of course, I'm putting my own little spin on it like I do with everything, with crinkle cut waffle fries or chips and crispy pan-fried Spam. Spam is a sponsor of this video, so if you're in one of the 40 different countries that sell Spam, go to the grocer, pick up a can, and let's dive into the recipe together. Alright, so like I just introduced the recipe, this is going to be poutine. Very excited to make this recipe. It's a very simple combination of ingredients. You have your crispy potatoes, a beautiful brown beef flavored gravy, you have your cheese curds, and in this recipe I'm going to be showcasing some Spam, a beautiful ingredient, especially incorporating it into this recipe has a nice amount of salinity to it. It's going to add a beautiful texture and flavor, so it's going to be great. I'm really excited to get into this. The first thing I'm going to start with is the gravy, because you just want to have that on standby once everything is hot, ready, crispy, ready to go. You want to have your gravy just to pour over that and just have it piping hot. So let's get that started. You're going to want to turn on your little saucepan on low heat, and we're going to start with a roux, which is basically just butter and flour, and you're going to mix those until they're almost like a paste, and then cook the flour out just a little bit so it doesn't taste so starchy, and you're going to have a little bit of color to that as well, because I'm going to brown the butter just ever so slightly. I'm just going to wait until that gets brown. You'll start to see the milk solids just start to turn brown and get a nice brown butter color to it. And then you're going to add in the flour and stir until it's a nice paste. You're going to add in your flour. It's really important to stir as you're pouring in the liquid, because it'll clump up. It tends to do that because it's the thickening agent, or the roux tends to want to separate in the liquid. And so you can even use a whisk to kind of help you, but sometimes the heat can be your whisk if you get a lot of that air, a lot of the bubbles happening by just doing this as fast as you can. By pouring in there, you saw that it really started to foam up, and that can help kind of homogenize the whole mixture, make it nice and smooth and creamy like the gravy we all love. All right, I'm going to let that thicken up. Should take just a few minutes, and then I'm going to set it off to the side and cover it with this so it doesn't develop the skin. Now time for the potatoes. So let's get the bowl ready. Okay, so I have some russet potatoes here that are going to be really nice for making the French fries, but I'm actually doing a little different technique with the poutine today. Normally they're simple French fries cut like batons, but today I'm doing a crinkle cut potato with this French mandolin and this nice nifty little attachment it has. Good amount of thickness to it. And it's just going to be a nice little texture to work with on top of the Spam, which I'm really enjoy using. It's a really versatile ingredient. It's definitely a generational ingredient passed down from generation to generation here in America, here in the States, especially in Hawaii. And there's a lot of different ways to use it. Like I said, really versatile, lots of different textures. You could even use it on a salad if you got it crispy, almost like bacon. You could use it like on a wedge salad. So it's going to be fun to use it with this poutine today, because it's going to have a nice dual texture of the crispiness on the outside and a nice tender center. All right, so I'm just going to finish this up. Watch your hands towards the end. I know everyone gets freaked out with me using mandolins and not using a glove, but it's just something I'm used to working in kitchens, several different kitchens. All right, so these are really pretty. Love the texture on them. Should be enough. And then I'm gonna have my bowl ready to go after I fry them. Now the oil should be about 350, 375. It's definitely a little hot, but it'll cool down with the first batch. Make sure you don't overfill your pot with oil, otherwise it'll spill over when you fry it. I want these just to be nice and crispy on the outside and still tender like a French fry in the middle, because they're just a tiny bit thinner than a traditional French fry. You don't want to turn these into potato chips. As you saw in the last batch, I went a little bit darker just because the first batch didn't have as much crisp as I'd wanted. So you're just gonna have to adjust as you go. It's one of the great mysteries of cooking. You're gonna have to, test it out with experience, and then you get the desired texture, the desired product you're looking for. And so these are gonna have, it's almost like a solid golden brown, maybe a little bit darker, especially with not double frying them. All right, so these are ready to go. All right, potatoes are done. Now it's on to the Spam. All right, so with the Spam, I'm gonna do a really simple, shallow pan fry. So it's just a little crispy on the outside, and I'm gonna dice it up into small little cubes, almost as like a garnish on top of the poutine. One thing I love about this product is it's very uniform. A lot of chefs have a hard time getting proper cuts out of things, so this is something you can really kind of have fun with and be creative as a chef, and or just as a home cook. And one of the things I really like about using a product like this is that it's something that tends to stay in the cupboard for a long time. People don't know what to do with it, and so if you kind of get a little creative with it, this is a really great example of that. Making poutine, making a salad, dicing it up, crisping it up, making it sort of tender, almost like a sausage where it's crispy on the outside and tender in the middle, and using it with various products. I don't know if you guys have noticed that chefs lately have been using Spam almost like a cheeky menu item for either like a risotto, and they'll use it, like I said, they'll crisp it up or fry it in a deep fryer as like a really crispy topping to maybe a soup or something like that. So this is definitely becoming a popular item in professional kitchens, believe it or not, because chefs cook at home and they tend to use products that they buy from the grocery store in fun and interesting ways because they know how to do that. And they have fun with a product like this. There's a lot of different applications you can kind of go crazy with when it comes to a product like this. Okay, so simple, small dice and into the pan. Nice hot pan. Turn up the heat. You kind of just want to spread it out so it's even. Gets a nice, crispy side on not all of the sides, but at least two of the sides, top and bottom. You want it to sort of, for this at least, you want it to sort of turn from just a slight caramelization to almost not burnt ends, but just slightly darker caramelized edges. So it has a really nice, dark caramelized flavor to each piece of the Spam. Nice and crispy, still tender in the middle, which is very important. You don't want to dry the product out too much, unless your intention is to get it really crispy and use it as a garnish. But this is perfect. And now it's time to assemble the poutine. So I have my cast iron little rondeau here. I have my cheese curds, which is very important to poutine. You can also use like chopped up or grated sharp cheddar cheese, like a white cheddar, and that'll work just fine. So first down are going to be the potatoes, and I know a lot of you think I probably should have salted these. But there's gonna be a lot of salt going on in this recipe, so I wanted to be careful about that. All right, evenly spread these out. Ooh, this looks good. Your cheese curds all around. Make sure you have a generous amount. Definitely want these to be nice and cheesy. Okay. Some of the crispy Spam. And this is going to go in the oven to get nice and melted. That's it. Poutine, crispy fried Spam, touch of rosemary, and a beautiful brown gravy. Okay, time for poutine. Okay, so this was a really fun recipe to make. I want to thank again Spam for sponsoring this video. This was a great collaboration when they approached me to kind of think of a creative way to use Spam. I mulled over a few different recipes and this was the one that definitely stood out to me. I didn't really know how it was going to turn out. I knew poutine was definitely a solid recipe already in the works in the world, in Canada, and I definitely thought that this was a good application for it, and it turned out great. I feel like the crispy Spam has a lot to offer for this recipe and many other recipes. It definitely, it's a really versatile ingredient, like I've said a few times. Lots of ways to play around with it, but it worked out really well in this recipe, and I'm excited to dive in and try it out. Okay, get some of the potatoes, some of that cheese. Wow, the gravy is beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. They're beautifully crispy on the outside and have a really tender center, which I love. You have those dual textures going on, and I can't get over this gravy. It just like kind of soaks into the potatoes. You kind of have these really flavor-rich, buttery potatoes with that gravy. And then towards the edge, you get these little crispy Spam bits and the crispy potato edges. And crispy edges are definitely what I'm all about. So good. The Spam adds plenty of salinity to it. You do not need to worry about how much salt's going in there, because that definitely picks it up. It has loads of flavor, so it blends well with everything that's going on. So don't go too crazy with the salt. A lot of the times, chefs or even cooks tend to salt everything as they go, and that's definitely a good thing to note. There's nothing worse than bland food out there, so just keep that in mind. Ooh, the Spam is good. Really good, especially some of those pieces that have almost like a little charred end. Had a lot of fun making this recipe. I hope you guys enjoyed this take on poutine. If you did, subscribe to my channel. Give this video a big ol' like. Make sure you check the description box for information about this recipe and equipment links, things that I use on a day-to-day. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time with another recipe. Later, folks.